Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our Career Treks job interview today. So we have Cesar and Brittany from the Omni Hotels, and Ashley is behind them. She helped coordinate this, so big thanks to her. So we're going to kind of just go talk about hospitality management and what it means to be in this industry. And so I think the first question I'm going to ask y'all is, how did you get into the hospitality realm? How did you land here?
Well, for me, I think that it has to do a lot with I am from Puerto Rico. That's my background. So whenever it's an island that is full of tourism, so I think that is one of the things that draw me into it. And then the other thing is just that every single time that I used to travel, for me was very fascinating. Just seeing the room attendants, even cleaning the rooms, that was something that I really wanted to do. So whenever I did school itself, the opportunity came to me and I started as a room attendant cleaning rooms. So I definitely got the job that I really wanted at the beginning. Didn't thought that it was going to be as difficult as it was. I'm going to be honest, because you have to have a lot of respect for people who clean rooms. So I'm going to be like that. It is a very challenging job. And of course, if we don't have clean rooms, we don't have a hotel, right? And not only a clean room, but the hotel itself, it has to look appealing to the eye for the people just to come in right here and stay with us. So I think that that's the first thing that draw me into it. I think that manifesting it and then seeing the people doing it, that allow me just to be on where I am right now. But that's for me.
Wonderful.
And for me, I actually grew up going to Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. So I knew one day that I wanted to be on the other end of that, not as a guest, but as a cast member. So I think just wanting to create those experiences for guests and leaving them with the opportunity to experience that, like I did as a kid, is something I definitely wanted to be a part of.
And I can understand, having gone to Disney World myself, how that can inspire someone. So Cesar, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but what has y'all's career paths look like? How did you get to where you are now?
So, wow, for me, it started in 2010. I believe it or not, I do have a major in chemistry with a second degree in education. Nothing that has to do with what I do, but I think that passion has to do a lot with it. And then whenever you like something and whenever you put the effort to it, I think that it speaks, volumes of it. So I started as a room attendant back in 2010 at the Sheraton Puerto Rico. It used to be a Starwood company. Um, I was there for 6 months after actually one of my director of housekeeping just told me like, hey, let me tell you something. You don't have a face for cleaning rooms. It was for me a little bit shocking, I'm gonna be honest with you, but then I saw it as an opportunity as well. So got right away the promotion to be a guest services agent. That's the way that they have it there. So I used to do front desk, PBX. PBX is where we pick up the phones. In Omni, we call it Ideal Services. So it has different names, but PBX, picking up the phones, and then also that I used to do was Club Lounge Agent. So all those three were as a guest services agent, very successful there. I did while I was there, I did win employee of the month for the month of October in 2010. And then 2011, I won the employee of the year for the hotel. And then after that, I won twice the back-to-back like Puerto Rico Tourism Company for formidable employee. That's what it was at that time. And then after that, I did SPG VIP coordinator. After that, housekeeping supervisor, then housekeeping manager, some overnights there too. And until 2017, I got the opportunity. A friend of mine called me about this amazing opportunity coming here to Texas. Coming from Puerto Rico was a little bit more challenging for me to grow out there since everything is uh, tourism. There's a lot of talent there. So I think it was going to take me a little bit of time. So I saw it as an opportunity. So for me, it was just I started as a night audit manager. I was 27 years at a time. Don't make the calculation of the age, okay? uh, so I was 27 years at a time. So I think that I was at the top of me wanting to go out and explore the city and everything else. So I think that I did this for 9 months until one day I decided to say goodbye to the Omni. And then the last day, they counter offer me, gave me the same, something that I was just looking for. And maybe it was not aligned in the rooms division as I wanted it, but they gave me a restaurant manager position. And I saw it, Ryan, as an opportunity of growth. Why? Because I wanted to be at that moment, I already have very clear where I want to go moving forward, but I wanted to be at that moment a director of operations. And whenever the opportunity got presented to me, I already have rooms. So I need food and beverage, right? So that's how I did it. And I was there for 6 months until, an opportunity came knocking on my door for director for the front office. Um, it was presented to me. It was a challenge. It was difficult. Spent a lot of hours until I found, that comfort zone where you see like, oh my God, like this is just going the way that I want it to be, like a well-oiled machine, like how they call it right here. Um, and so then after that, pandemic hit, fortunately. During that time, it was very difficult, challenging. A hotel on your shoulders. So I think that I got a little bit worn out. I'm gonna be honest with you. And then I took a hiatus for 5 months. Went to work for a community as a community manager, like a high rise here in Dallas. And then I knew that my passion was not there, So I decided to come back again as a task force for operations, and now have been given the opportunity to come back again here to my home property, and I am an assistant director of rooms for the past 6 months. So, and just continuing, on my career. So that's for me as of the moment. That's where but I definitely wanted to be a GM one day, and maybe get into a corporate role whenever I'm a little bit more experienced in regards to that. But the ultimate goal right now will be GM.
Wonderful. And thank you for sharing that. I don't want to interject before Brittany has a chance to speak, but thank you for giving such a broad overview and showing how careers sometimes go forward and backwards and to the side, but you can still always end up where you want to be.
Definitely.
So my career path isn't as extensive as Caesar's just yet.
Yes.
But in 2017, I had just graduated college and I actually applied for the Disney College program. So I did that for a year and a half. I was then offered to either extend my program or go full time. Just graduated college, so obviously I'd want to do that full time position. So I had done front desk the entire time that I was with Disney. Right whenever I was going full time, they decided to merge front desk and concierge. So we kind of did a little bit of everything. So you wear all the hats. You do back office, you answer the phones, you check people in. So pretty much everything. And then I had done that until about 2021. So last year, I had actually just moved back to Texas in November. So then I applied to Omni, and I was given the opportunity for a rooms controller position, which I accepted. And then in July of this year, I was just offered the lead position, and currently I'm the leader in development for rooms. So following in Caesar's footsteps and just learning how hotels operate.
Mhm.
Wonderful. And that's one reason I was so excited to get both of y'all into this interviews, because you're going to have different perspectives, right? Cesar obviously has bounced around between Puerto Rico and Texas and has had a wide range of experience. Brittany, you've done it a little more recently. Not calling you old, Cesar, but Brittany's been doing it. Got done with college recently, and all the things that come with that. But one of the things I wanted to ask both of you is, what is something that you learned the hard way being in the hospitality industry? What was something that there was only one way to learn it, and that is by experiencing it?
I think that there's a lot of things that you can learn the hard way. Ryan, I will not tell you like that there's just any specific thing. I did wrote down communication. Something as simple can be very big on the eyes of somebody just because it is an experience that you're providing at the end, right? There's money involved, there's time involved, there's a lot of things, right? So I think that communication has been one of the things that you have to learn in a very hard way, because sometimes you understand that you're communicating properly, but maybe you're not communicating the way that you should be communicating. And especially just working in the operations world, you since the very beginning, you're responsible for that guest stay, right? So everybody has to be on the same page. Everybody has to know the same, had to know the same communication and all that kind of stuff. So for me, sticking to what I said at the beginning was something, that I learned the hard way, because some people, it creates expectations. That's where I want to go. It creates expectations whenever you are communicating with somebody, communicating with a guest. So that expectation, you're already sending that expectation to the guest. So how now I will put that into life with my team, right? If I don't communicate that correctly, then everything that I said to the guest will not be what they will experience. So I think that has been one of the things that I put most value on, and how you communicate not only with your peers but also with the guests, because at the end it is a loop. It starts on one place, but it will end on the same place that it started. So that's the way that I see it. So I think that communication for me, it is the most important thing, not only in the world itself, but I think in the hotel world that we are right now.
I would say communication, but also networking, because you never know who's watching, and it really pays off in the end if you are polite and courteous, and your attitude is a big thing as well in hospitality, because some things can be taken the wrong way, and you don't want that. You don't want to come off as negative or standoffish. So I think attitude and networking is really, really important for hospitality.
And on that, honestly, y'all's answers also answered the next question, which was what's like the most important skill you think of when it comes to having success in this particular field? And I think communication, I think those skills are transferable beyond hospitality, and you see that in every industry. You see the importance of that and the damage miscommunication has on businesses.
Something that I
So,
will tell you, Ryan, that I really want to ask, add in regards to that, and something that it's a very, very important that I say every single day is having the right mindset. Um, right now in the world that we live in, we understand that there's a lot of things out there that, that maybe we're not aligned with, right? And we need to understand that we're not the only ones right here, right? So I think that having the right mindset, and I think that just to make echo of what Brittany said, which I think it is very important, is the attitude that you have towards the job, right? Why do I say mindset and attitude? Because I believe that once you manifest, things happen. And it all depends a lot in regards of what you put yourself and you put your mind to, right? You're your worst enemy, but also you're your best cheerleader, I would definitely say. So you have to create a balance in regards to this. So I think that right now, nowadays, it has been a little bit challenging for people just to get themselves in the mindset that things happen, that there's another day, that you will fall, but how you can get up from that. And I think it plays a lot in the lives of people nowadays, especially into young people, that we're seeing now that things are flying, in the blink of an eye. And I think that just having the right mindset at this time right now will play a huge, crucial part on where you're going forward. Because you have, I don't know, for me, that's something that you have to.
no, and I think you see that, at least I've seen that in my fellow college students, right? Finding a way to motivate yourself, especially in the height of COVID and the slog that is finals and term papers and everything else. y- People struggle with finding a way to motivate themselves, and uh, understanding that building that skill early helps in the long run, right? Finding something you're passionate about really makes a difference. So one of the things I know, I talked to a couple students before this, asking them what they might want to know, what they would want to learn, and one of the things was, what does a normal day look like for the two of you? Is it a 14-hour day? Is it you're running around doing 15 different things? Are you sitting behind a desk responding to emails? What does that look like for you?
Um, okay, so I have a little bit more of a challenging task. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I don't expect it necessarily an 8 hour work day. I'm gonna be honest with you, like maybe nine, sometimes eight, 10. It all depends on the day. I think it depends on the day, and also understanding the place that you're in, right? Of course, I don't want for people just to think that hospitality, you're gonna go and you're gonna work 20 hours a day. If you have a team that you trust, I think that that's one of the first thing. You have to trust your team in order for you not to spend that many hours right here. At the end, you have a lot of responsibilities that you have to take care of, right? But also you have people that can do the same things, right? Because if you don't train them, whenever you leave, what are you gonna do? Where is your legacy? So I think that that is something that is very important. I don't want for people just to be thinking that going into a hotel world and being a manager, you have to work 12 hours a day. It happens. I'm not gonna tell you no, because I don't want to lie to you. I want to be honest. But I think that also it all depends on how comfortable you are on the work and the job that you're doing at the moment. It takes time. Of course, I do have people right now that I have promoted as either directors or managers, and it has been a little bit challenging for them just to create that work-life balance, right? Um, and I understand that because I was there. I used to remember that my brother used to come and pick me up We used to share one car at that time. And he used to pick me up. He used to get out of Pepsi at 4 p.m. And I have been at work since, you have in mind, 6:30, 5:30 a.m. in the morning. And he was there on the drive until 5 p.m. You can make the calculation there. And until one day he told me that, what are you doing? Like, you're killing yourself. Like, you're gonna hate it. Like, and then that's one of the things that I tell to the people, just be realistic, understand that there's a day after there's another day. And then, I'm Puerto Rican, and we say a lot, like, for example, like, whatever you can do today, you can do tomorrow. It's not that it's a motto that I would like to live with, but I sometimes understand that yes, whatever you can do today, you can also do it tomorrow. Um, you have to also prioritize and make sure that you understand what needs to be done at that time. I think that is a crucial for you not to be right here that many hours, and also delegate. Delegation, it will be something that's important because people need to also learn. Because if not, you're not doing anything. So I will tell you 8 to 9 hours will be my normal day. I can take my weekends off. There will be days that I cannot take my weekends off, right? So I need to understand and put things on a balance and also work for what I want. If I want to be in certain position, then you have to understand that you have other people that you have to take care of and show it. I think that speaks a little bit more than you just speaking about what you did.
Right.
My day does look a little bit different than Caesar's, only just because of our positions. But my typical day, so for my lid program that I'm in, I have to work 10 hours. That's mandatory. So I start my day, I go through my emails, I see what we're looking at hotel stats wise, if we have check-ins, check-outs, how many vacant clean rooms we have. Also communicating with housekeeping too is really important because we have to have clean rooms in order to get people checked in. So I have to go through all of the checklist. But yeah, every day is definitely different. That's one thing I love about the hospitality industries because you don't know what you're going to expect. Some days are good, some days are bad, some days are better than the others. But you just kind of have to take it with a grain of salt and have that work-life balance because, like Caesar said, if you don't, you will get burned out. So.
Yeah. Well, and burnout is not something college kids are unaware of, right? We experience it just like professionals do. And I think the two of you highlighting that exists post finals and term paper life is an important reminder that self-care uh, matters, and finding that balance, right? And understanding, well, I have to work 10 hours today, so what am I going to do with the other hours of my day? What am I going to do in my personal time? Something you both have touched on a little bit when I was talking about skills that you find important for the job has been things that, like communication and networking. But so as we have college kids preparing to graduate to enter the real world, what is there anything beyond communication skills? Is there anything in particular to the job and hospitality that you really think students should focus on? Like while you're in class, while you have the opportunity to really hone in on this skill set, do it now and it'll help you in the long run. You'll have a little bit of a easier transition into the real world.
I do for sure. I think that's something, it depends on everybody, but I think empathy is something that is so important nowadays, and also understanding that this is not personal, right? I think that coming into this type of industry, and especially whenever you work in the front office world, this is where we come. This is our forte. You have to understand that not everything is personal, right? Like every single guest that comes through your door, like some of them might have an issue that it came across before you coming here, and guess what? You're the first person to be there. I think that is something that, like, you have to be having the mindset that you have to understand that these things happen, right? And being empathetic to the people out there, and also understand that you're here to provide a service. There are things that you're not ready for. There are things that you're not being prepared for. Actually, there are things that you're going to be put out there for you to figure that out yourself at that moment. I think that's where you as a person collect your gems and say, like, I can do this. That's where everything that in regards of mindset, attitude, empathy, communication, there's so many things that come into place there. um so I think that that's something that I will definitely tell you guys, that I know that studying, it's important and everything else, but I think that the real deal is whenever you're in the position. How can you contribute to that? Because of course the books will tell you how to do it, but there's something that you have to put to it. The book is a 50, I think I would say like maybe a 25%, the 75% is just you. How you treat the people, how you manage the people, how you manage what you learn in school on that text, how you're going to put it into life. You know what I mean? So those are things that I think that you guys should know already.
And I'm going to piggyback off of that. One thing Caesar taught me when I first got into my LID program is to pick your battles. You don't know what other people are going through. You don't know what's going on outside of their worlds. Whenever they do come into the hotel, they're not in the best mood at that check-in. Don't take it personal. There's other things going on in their life. And also too with hospitality, like Caesar did just mention, 25% is going to be in the books. The rest of it's going to be situational. So every day is going to be different and you don't know how or what to expect really, but it's not what you say to the guests, it's how you say it to the guests and how it comes across and everything.
Wonderful. And I think that is something I won't say that we've lost a little bit after COVID, but you certainly have seen some of that personal connection people used to be able to exhibit so well. You've seen that lacking at times, right? People are forgetting that they're not just sending emails anymore, they're actually interacting face to face, and facial expressions aren't hidden by masks anymore and stuff like that. It makes a difference. And especially in the hospitality world, a lot of it does come down to customer service. Not all of it, right? But certainly on the topics y'all have pointed to, customer service matters. I think some of our questions have been answered all in one, which is great because I think it's hard to separate certain things from others. But one of the things I really wanted to ask towards the end was you both kind of talked about how you got to Omni, and obviously it is a fantastic uh, organization and it's a pinnacle member of the industry. But why have you stayed at Omni? Like, what has kept you at Omni, and do you see yourself there long term?
For me, I am connected with the vision and the mission. I think that once you're connected with that, it makes a huge difference. Then the other thing that I will tell you, Ryan, I was just talking with somebody the other day, and I'm very glad that you asked me this question. Um, just because at Omni, I am Cesar. You see, I am not a number 389. You get it? I am Cesar Sintron. So that's the value that I have as a person in this company. My words matter, my thoughts matter, what other people that I see matter. Um, those are things that they have given me the power to be right here in front of you to be doing this kind of stuff, right? That's being all in. That's our motto. That's who we are. Um, and but I think that the primary thing that I will tell you, I just said it just a second ago, is just that I'm Caesar, and people know who I am. You know what I mean? I am not a number lost on a company. That's why I have decided to stay right here. And of course, I love what I do. I love the environment. I love the people. How amazing they put it just right here, just being right next to the Cowboy Stadium, like to the practice facility, not the stadium. It is a privilege. I will tell you something. It is a privilege. It is a lot of pride whenever you go to a place and you say what you do, where you are. I think that that's all about, and it's about the place, coming from a place like Puerto Rico, which I love. And of course, if you tell me, would I like to go and move back? Of course. Yeah, I will not lie to you. That's my home. That's what I know. But this is my home now, right? That's the way that I see it. And of course, I will not hesitate and say, like, if the opportunity is right here, I'll stay right here. I will tell you, I left Puerto Rico saying that I was going to come right here 2 years later. Has been already 6 years that I've been here in Texas, and I don't see myself going back home right now. So those are things that I will tell you that that's why I have decided to stay right here with this company. That's why I came back after I left, because they received me with open arms. That says a lot. That's for me. That's my experience.
I would honestly say the same thing. Coming from the Walt Disney Company, where you have over 50,000 employees, it's hard to make those connections and those relationships with your fellow employees and peers and everything. So I think coming into Omni, where we're a much smaller property, you can tell that more people do accept you with open arms and you can make those closer connections. And I think going back to communication, like once we are able to communicate with every single person, like when I walk in, I say hi to everyone. Coming when I was at Disney and I worked at Magic Kingdom, it's so hard to say hi to all these people because you don't know those people. So here, I think making those connections with everyone and going off of our culture and our value, and we're all in all the time. Every single person here is. So that really means a lot to me, and it makes me want to stay with Omni in the long run.
Well, and it sounds like the staff is built to support each other and to be connected with each other. Ashley, I know this was not an interview for you, but I'd love to know your experience and why you stayed at Omni as well as we end this interview.
Of course. So I've been with the company for 8 years. I started, just a little background, I started at Omni Dallas as a gift shop associate. I wanted to head into HR, but that's the only position they had available at the time. So I started there, and I really did want to get into Omni and kind of grow within. And that's exactly what happened. So I started as a gift shop associate, then I went to front desk. I was the loyalty ambassador, and then made my way into human resources when they had an opening, and just kept moving up from there. But I've stayed with the company so long because of the culture, and they kind of hit those points as well. Our culture, we're all about being all in, all about supporting each other. In this property in particular, it's wonderful. I can't say enough good things about it. We have amazing leaders. We have amazing associates who come in with a great attitude. They're here to support all the other departments, support our guests. It's just a wonderful culture. It's a welcoming culture. We have new hire orientation that welcomes all of our new hires and kind of goes over our culture. And when we say that we're all in, that's the culture that we have established here within Omni. So yeah, just very supporting, welcoming. We love to promote from within. So a lot of promotion opportunities, a lot of growth opportunities. And then Brittany is kind of example of our promotion and our growth opportunities with the LIT program. So it's just been awesome.
That Omni, I'm not in the hospitality world. That's not my degree, but it does sound like a wonderful place to work. I'm kind of envious. As we end this interview, I just want to say thank you to all three of you for participating today, for helping set this up, for giving your time to talk to me. And then, of course, this will be online for our students to see in the next couple weeks. And I know the feedback I got when I brought this idea to them, they couldn't wait to view this video. So I'm very excited to get the feedback, and just thank you. Thank you for your time, and thank you for speaking with me today.
Thank
Awesome.
you,
Thank you,
Ryan.
Ryan.
Has been a pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you. And remember something that I will tell you and tell this to them. This is something that I said to my team every single day, not only front office, housekeeping, guest services, and ballet, those are the people that I oversee, but I am nothing without them. And I'm everything with them. So once knowing and understanding the needs of the people and getting yourself in those shoes, I think that it will help you a lot. But also just recognizing the value that they have right here. So I think that is very important.
I think I want you as my boss when I graduate college. Thank you again for the insights and for the wisdom that's been hard earned and sometimes easy, but most of the time probably more difficult than we'd like to think about. So thank you again, and I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
Thank you.